No point in beating Liverpool last week and playing so well if we come here and flounder.
Definitely danger from set pieces. James Ward-Prowse on the ball. We know what he can do. He's been doing it for years at Southampton and now he's doing it at West Ham. PTSD of this ground and the PTSD of the last few results, if I'm honest with you. Last season, 2-0 up, cruising, kind of dented our title challenge.
Welcome back everyone to the London Stadium. Welcome back to AFTV. It's West Ham versus Arsenal for, the fourth time I think in under 12 months. And we haven't beaten them at all in that time. We need to get a win here and build on the momentum of the last three wins. We're going to cover it all with my good friend Laurie, my good friend Dan Potts. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoy this video at the end of it, and of course subscribe to the channel and keep notified with everything that is going on as it comes out ahead of this weekend. But let's look ahead to this game. Dan, are we still buzzing off Liverpool, or is it, all right, it's done now, time to move on, time to think about this now?
Still taking photos of the Emirates, mate, and getting right involved in Jamie Carragher. Listen, of course you move on, man. I didn't understand all the commotion from that personally. I think sometimes you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with Arsenal, right? And there's a lot of the media that were absolutely praying that Arsenal lost that game so they could jump on us, yeah? When we didn't lose it, that ruined their weekend. Completely ruined their weekend. They had all the headlines out, they had it all ready, and we shut people up, and for some reason, I don't know why, we rattled everyone. I have no idea why. If we're not serious, what are they getting rattled for? So that's the way I see it. I think for me, you move on to this game, and I've always had in the back of my mind, James, a little bit more nerves for this one because of the PTSD of this ground and the PTSD of the last few results, if I'm honest with you. Last season, 2-0 up, cruising, kind of dented our title challenge. Declan Rice has now been, for whatever reason, in West Ham fans' eyes, makes Arsenal a rival to West Ham now. No idea why. I don't see them as rivals, but I think there's some form of hatred towards what we've done to them in terms of taking their captain away from them. So
yeah,
we've got.
Up on that as well, you know? Yeah, I picked up on that. I did actually. Sorry to
Go on, bro.
interrupt your flow, but I did actually speak to a couple of West Ham fans about that, and I'm like, why are you giving Declan Rice so much stick? Because at the end of the day, man, I mean, you know, he was a very good player for you. You're £105 million richer into the deal, but what they said to me is that apparently when Declan come to us, he gave a few interviews and he was saying things like, oh, I've never seen anything like this and the standards here is so different, and that's riled them, you know what I mean? So they're a proud club, and him saying that apparently it's got under their skin, so there you go.
Well, the one thing that's getting under our skin is the fact we actually haven't beaten them in three appearances. You mentioned the 2-0 up here, cruising. I think that dented our hopes more than Liverpool. 2-0 up at Anfield, but we came away with probably a valiant point. But to come here 2-0 up, cruising, give away a penalty, and then concede was still a good, over half an hour of the game to go, whatever. We couldn't find a way back into it. We then get knocked out of the cup here. We talked about the importance of getting silverware. 3-0 down in this game, having rotated, fall out pretty limply. And then at the Emirates, when we got that draw at Anfield, again, this game comes after Liverpool. We sit top of the league. We're feeling good about our good work. And then they come to the Emirates and again, dent our hopes. It sparked a mini run of 3 games without a win. So West Ham have been a real problem for us. And all right, cool, we've got Declan Rice to show for it, but we need the results on the board, and West Ham have been denying that.
Listen, it kind of feels like third time lucky because we've had Liverpool and West Ham literally the same period, 3 years in a row, or not 3 years in a row, but 3 times in a row. Obviously, last season it was the start of our downfall for the title. We've already seen this season in the new year that it was like Merry Christmas but shocking New Year for Arsenal, and Liverpool and West Ham were a part of that in terms of the quick successions that we had. I didn't think it was a terrible result at Anfield, but I thought we could have gone either way. I thought it was probably a fair result, to be fair, but I thought we absolutely dominated Liverpool and deserved the victory there, and that's what we've got to do there. You know, I'm a big fan of what I saw against Liverpool, but West Ham will be confident here because David Moyes has had Mikel Arteta's number for the last few games. It has to be said. In terms of how they play in that low block, I still think we struggle sometimes. So, you know, this is going to be a big game to see, look, what have we learned from the last few times that we've played West Ham?
Yeah, I completely agree. Set pieces are a strength of theirs, but they've got some real talents as well. That's the thing. Like, I think sometimes people want to reduce David Moyes football. I do this sometimes. I was talking ahead of this game going, how are we going to break them down? And then it's like, how do we stop Kudus and Bowen? And now they've added Phillips to that. Ward-Prowse can whip in a ball from pretty much any angle he wants and put it right on the player's forehead. You know, Souček can be a problem for set pieces. Mavropanos came back to the Emirates and scored and maybe tried to send a little bit of a message there. Like, we've got a lot to stop as well as trying to get into our flow.
Yeah, they're one of those teams you can't underestimate West Ham, because on any given day, they turn up, they will provide you a stern test. David Moyes, very experienced manager, doesn't always get the credit he deserves. I know the football's not the best, but he's a wily old fox. He knows what he's doing. But on the other hand, I mean, West Ham, if you look at their current stats, they're not doing that well. I think they've not won in their last 6 games.
They haven't won in 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get some of those results up now.
Yeah, and we're 3-0 in 2024. So if you look at it, since that break in Dubai, what is it, 5-0, 2-1 and 3-1 last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
3 wins on the bounce. We're hoping to make it 4. We're hoping to actually build a bit of a run. Arsenal haven't gone a single run of more than 4 games in the league this season. That's something we did well last year. We went on 5, 6, 7s. We need to get up to that if we're to keep pace with City, especially as they've put 5 on the bounce now. I think they're 10 wins in all comps in a row. That obviously includes the Club World Cup. But West Ham's run, they drew with Brighton 0-0 on the 2nd of Jan. They drew 1-1 with Bristol. They then lost that replay 1-0 away at Bristol. They drew 2-2 with Sheffield United away from home. They drew 1-1 with Bournemouth here the other week, and they lost 3-0 at Man United. But I watched that United game. They had chances. They had 20-odd shots on their goal, West Ham.
Yeah, well, we know something about that because when we played them, we had something like, was it approaching 40 shots?
Maybe not quite that many, but it was certainly
like
maybe in the high 20s,
but
low 30s.
It was something like, I think it was about 30.
Yeah.
And obviously, we didn't score. So I think the lesson to be taken from that is that we will get a lot of the ball because I'm pretty sure that the tactics of West Ham will remain pretty much as they have been in recent times. I.e., they'll be happy to let us have the ball, and it'll be up to us to try and break them down. Now, in past games, not just the West Ham game, we've shown that at times we overplay, you don't take enough shots, and the tempo is not always as quick as it should be. So we've got to address that. I would imagine that the manager's been working on that with a view to this game. And it's about taking our chances.
Let's talk player specific, Dan. Let's start with Declan Rice. Now, he's actually had what I call a few warm-ups into what I imagine this welcome will be, the Carabao Cup. And I'm not saying that that's not an important game. I was gutted when we went out of that competition. But I imagine it doesn't have the same fire that this kind of Premier League fixture might have. Add to that he's played against West Ham at the Emirates. This is the first time he's coming back here in a Premier League game. And now it's thick of the season time. What are you expecting in terms of welcome home for him?
Mixed reception, I think, man. Mixed reception. There are some West Ham fans that I'm sure wish him well, but there are some West Ham fans that are really devastated about the way he left and now that he's come here. I don't.
Can they be both?
Yeah. Probably can be. I mean, we've experienced, haven't we, Arsenal? Yeah, we've had people come back to us that we potentially didn't want to see leaving, the likes of Ashley Cole, the likes of Cesc Fabregas, the likes of Van Persie. And some people might look at those individuals and have hatred for them, and some of them might actually look and go, do you know what? I kind of get it. They've gone on, everyone that's left Arsenal's gone on to actually win something and you know, take away what they wanted to do, which was ultimately win a trophy. When it comes to Declan Rice, I think that's what he's tried to do. You know, he's gone to that next step in his career. He was given his 100% at West Ham. But I've got to say, an Arsenal
won a trophy as well.
Yeah, won a trophy with him, exactly, and captained him there. So, listen, he showed some great leadership qualities on and off the pitch, I think, in an Arsenal shirt as well. But actually, against West Ham, I don't think he's really turned up yet. Like, we saw him come on and we were 3-0 down. I don't know why we did that. I thought that was a stupid thing to do. Yeah, along with the likes of Ødegaard, Martinelli, Saka, all these guys that were coming on when their game was lost. And obviously at the Emirates, I don't think he was very good at all, if I'm honest. And I would say that in over 90% of the fixtures so far that we've played, he's been one of our best players every single game. Against West Ham in both of those, I think he was one of the worst players. So I don't know if that's something mental that he's got to get over. I think that there'll be some. I don't think he's going to come here and expect to be cheered or given a lap of honour, that's for sure. So he's got to just move past that. He's an Arsenal player now, and you move forward with it. I think the midfield situation with him and Jorginho has complemented each other against Liverpool. And if we can see that continuing, then hopefully Declan Rice can have a good game here, man.
Completely agree. Now, in terms of the starting 11, there will be a video coming out on the channel after this preview as well, predicting the 11 with the three of us. So stay tuned for that. One of the players that could be involved is Takehiro Tomiyasu. So back to you, Dan. He's expected to be a part of the squad. Does he start for you? Does he come straight back in?
Listen, for me, 100%. Even if Zinchenko is 100% fit, I'll be playing Tomiyasu in this game.
Really?
Yeah, I would be. I like Zinchenko on the ball. I think a lot of what he does going forward is absolutely pivotal in where we've been at our best. But for me, against the likes of Kudus and Bowen, and if Paqueta is back, like the rumours are that he could be a part of the squad.
The rumours he'd be back already?
I'm hearing that he might be out. I'm hearing that he might be back. If that is the case, whether or not, they've got Kudus and Bowen. They've still got attacking options. And I just feel more comfortable with Tomiyasu there. I think one-on-one defending, I think his aerial ability, I think he's a versatile player that can play right, left or centre-back. And for me, against a team like this, I think that's the perfect solution at left-back for me, because Zinchenko can get caught out defensively, man. He's got frailties.
Yeah, fair enough. Would you agree with that? Tomiyasu straight back in, or Kivior, did well off the bench against Liverpool, had a really good second half, but maybe isn't as accomplished in that position as Tomiyasu. What would you go with?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So we're assuming that Zinchenko won't be available.
Well, we're assuming that Zinchenko won't be available having come off, but we haven't really had any confirmation at the time of recording. Add to that we know Thomas Partey, he's had a setback.
Thomas
He can help himself.
No, I mean, big up Thomas Partey, man. Get well soon. Right, so with Zinchenko, if he's fit and available, I would slightly disagree with my man Dan. I think given that we will have, well, I'm anticipating we'll get a lot of possession on Sunday, I would think that Zinchenko inverting, if fit, he will provide service to the strikers, hopefully, and that might help us to break down West Ham a little bit easier than had Tomiyasu play. Tomiyasu, I think, is a superior defender. Zinchenko is the superior in terms of bringing the team forward. So, yeah, it's one of them. I mean, we've got to remember as well that Tomiyasu's been away in the Asia Cup. Presumably long flight home. We'll have to monitor him, see how he's doing. But listen, if either one of them play, they're not going to let the team down. Sure. But I do think that Zinchenko gives you an advantage going forward.
Fair enough. Just a reminder of the team news then. Tomiyasu could be back, but Partey still out. Gabriel Jesus is expected to be out there, hopefully nothing serious. Fabio Vieira, we're waiting for a real update on him. And Jurriën Timber is, well, he's registered for the Champions League squad, so hopefully back soon. There was a breaking news video on the channel. Go check that out. Let's get score predictions to round it all off. Laurie.
Listen, we have to win. And
we do,
with no disrespect to West Ham, they're not on a good run of form at the moment. Yes, they have beaten us twice this season, so you can't underestimate them. But I think in the final analysis, we need this more than they do. Okay. We're pushing on for honours, hopefully. No point in beating Liverpool last week and playing so well if we come here and flounder. So that being said, hard-fought game, but picking Arsenal to come out on top 2-1.
I'm going for a 1-0 Arsenal win because we need it, but I'm nervy about it. I was much more confident going into the Liverpool game, and I based that down on we played both teams twice going into those games. The Liverpool ones, I felt we played well tactically. We did a lot of great stuff. I just felt the ball needed to fall in the back of the net for us, and we'd get that win. West Ham, I feel like, listen, tactically, that they've had the better of us a little bit in those last few games, so the confidence isn't quite there. But I got to believe that we find a way through this time and win 1-0.
Well, we have to win, James, because otherwise all of this hype about beating Liverpool means nothing, does it? We're back to square one again. So it's a must-win game as far as Arsenal are concerned. I'm with both of you. I think this will be a tight one. I don't see any 4s or 5s going in. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I do think we'll concede. I think they've got definitely danger from set pieces. James Ward-Prowse on the ball. We know what he can do. He's been doing it for years at Southampton, and now he's doing it at West Ham, delivering set pieces into the box. And I think that we'll struggle with that. They've got some great height in there. They've got some great physicality. But I do think Arsenal win this one 2-1 because I do believe that we will continue the form that we saw at Liverpool.
Okay, fair enough. Everyone go check out as well Football's 12th Man podcast, the amazing show and YouTube channel run by Dan Potts along with Dan Lawless and plenty of others as well. And I know you two will be giving each other a hard time, whatever full time is as well with that result. Like I said at the beginning, like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe to the channel, check out all the other preview content and a box to box coming out with me and Nikki from West Ham Fan TV, who are doing a lot to work with around this game as well. Everyone, a big thanks. Catch you on match day for the big game.